This is my dream game Omnipresence, a fast-paced shooter which is looking a lot better than it did last devlog, or the devlog before that, or the one before that. And I didn't just work on the looks, I made new mechanics and polished everything. It feels at least 7 times better. Well, Ninja Styler, last devlog was only the beginning. Yep, Geo, this looks even more insane now. Just wait and see. I first started by realizing that I completely insulted Titanfall 2 by comparing my map to theirs. So I hopped into it and I took a few screenshots as a reference for a sci-fi factory, because this factory that I made makes me want to get violently sick. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I literally made that factory in half an hour for last devlog because I realized I don't have enough content to show off. So I made it my mission for this devlog to actually make the game look good this time. I first wanted to check if me, a game developer with 3 years of experience, could remake the look of Titanfall, made by dozens of industry veterans. So I just blatantly copied all the models to try get a feel for everything. And it didn't look bad, at all. I mean, it's much better than this. Also, why has nobody told me how important color grading is? I tested out some color grading here, and that's honestly opened up a whole new world to me. Just look at the difference. Nothing has changed except for the colors. And as Apocalypse Toaster pointed out, what a name, maps would benefit from being darker, which I think the color grading helps with a lot. I threw together a better area and made some models to put in there. I really liked how this looked until I got feedback on it from all you guys and made me feel really self-conscious. Anyways, I went onto Milanote and I brainstormed out how this factory would work so that I can make the game a little bit more immersive. But then I reached my 100 card limit and I'm not paying €10 a month for it. Just as Dom said, hopefully my game works out, which you, yes you, can actually help with by wishlisting it on Steam. Don't worry, you're not going to regret this. I then drew this beautiful level on a page and started blocking it out. I made some really nice models with textures that took me way too long. This area is going to be the cargo bay, and once everything is unloaded, it will be moved through that door and into the factory. I'll probably make some cool sci-fi forklifts or something because I found HJC135's idea too funny to not add in. Also, this is the comment that made me really want to overhaul the map, so thank you. I played around with the layout of the containers more and made sure that the moment you spawn, you know exactly where you need to end up by having a clear line of sight to the door, and I was even nice enough to add a green light above it too. And once I had something I liked, I decided to bake the lighting. Not gonna go into how this works because I don't want everyone to leave. Actually, I have just the trick. It just means that the lighting is not calculated every frame because that is too expensive, especially when you want shadows, so it's done by my poor PC instead and stored on a light map, which is basically a texture that shows where light hits an object. Once you're in game, moving objects won't be able to cast shadows, though there are some ways around this. This also comes with the added benefit of adding bounce lighting, which is not usually calculated in real time. Everyone's saying that the view model is annoying them, I hear you, but I want to do something unique, so maybe wait till the playtest and let me know what you think after that. I'll talk about the playtest a little bit more later. Speaking of unique, I want this whole game to be unique because I don't have the resources to compete with a COD campaign, and I don't even want to. The great thing about indie games is that they can do stuff that AAA game developers would find too risky, which means they can do a bunch of new stuff, so I'm gonna take advantage of that and make something fresh. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if you think my game is fresh enough, is it going too far, is it not changing enough, and I always love stealing your ideas, so comment those down below as well. So I started working on a turret that you'll be able to turn into. What do you mean, where is it? It's the black cube. I made you be able to turn into it and be able to go back into a robot body or any other electronic. This is also when I realized I had motion blur on this whole time because apparently if I don't have any motion blur in my game, I actually have full motion blur, so I have to add it into the game and then turn it to 0 to make it go away. I know, it's really intuitive. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely hate motion blur in games, so I'm just gonna leave it off for now. Reassuring Weasel wanted to be in this video, so he'll be hiding somewhere. I then made you be able to take control of the turret and fire it, and I was even smart enough to completely obscure your vision with muzzle flash, and that's enough for the turret for now. I then started on the polish, the thing you actually clicked on the video for. So in my game, you don't really get feedback for anything, it's just the bare basics, such as when you jump, you go up. But a good jump, a truly good jump, animates your camera on the way up to give you a sense of speed. Then bobs your head as you hit the ground with subtle camera shake and a sound effect to top it all off. This whole time, your arms have been slowly lagging behind your head because they don't move together perfectly. And for some extra flair, you can add some particles to the player's feet as they land to give them a sense of power to the jump. This is the basics of game feel. It's something you can't really put your finger on, but when it's missing, it's so obvious that you sometimes get put off the entire game. These are things that you never notice until you become a game developer. Now, something else that I wanted to do was tilt the camera a little in each direction while you were moving, and now I have motion sickness. Turns out the max degree that you can turn the camera without making me feel sick is about 0.5 degrees, so you'll never even notice I added this. I then started polishing the guns, and first of all, I made a new muzzle flash effect because NSKA mentioned a while ago that the flash doesn't look great. I think it's funny because I recently realized Jack Frags uses the same PNG for all his thumbnails. I also modeled some new shells for the guns to eject, and I actually made them come out of the right place. I also made the recoil feel a lot better, so here's a before and after. It feels so much more polished. I then moved on to some sound design because it was seriously lacking from my game. I also finally took on board the Matrix effect that this guy and Just Jose Lol recommended for the Omni Switch. I made sounds for a lot of important stuff. By made, I just mean freesound.org, and then I butchered them in Audacity. I also just want to ruin this for everyone, so the landing and sliding sounds are just an old rusty wheelbarrow. You're welcome. So here's a little demo of the sounds. Before you ask me what the game is about, I've actually updated my Steam page to feature a description, but for some reason you can only read it if you press wishlist. I don't make the rules. XDyson recommended I should overhaul the UI, but I didn't really have time for it, so I just slanted everything to make it look like it's on a display and changed the colors a little. I hope you're happy. In all seriousness, I will go over this sometime, but I have a lot of other priorities. Then to polish the guns even more, I made them be able to spawn impact effects, to which I accidentally added the revolver model, which I had way too much fun with. This video clip you're seeing right now is actually 5 minutes long, and now it looks pretty good. I also made the slide actually, well, work, because so many of you have been asking for a slide, and I've actually had it in since my first devlog, but it's so pathetic that none of you guys even noticed, which I find really funny. I then modeled this robot arm that I call the unpacking arm, because it will be part of the factory where they open packages and put the contents onto a conveyor belt. Here's the factory area so far. I only got to start it in this devlog, but it's pretty promising so far, I think. Also, I made a lot of changes to the way the game works under the hood, but I'm not going to go into that. So I polished the map, gunplay, movement, and sound design, which is a lot of progress in my opinion. Oh, and if you want to playtest the game, make sure to join the brand new Wishbone Games Discord server where I'll be sending invite links to the playtest in the next few weeks. Here are some of the comments that I'm going to be working on in the next few weeks, and thank you for watching.